As was indicated earlier in these studies, a day in prophecy is not a literal day. Recall Israel's wanderings in the wilderness and also Ezekiel's prophecy concerning the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Each day for a year. One prophetic day equals one literal year. What are the indicators that the 1260, 1290, and 1335 days are 1260, 1290, and 1335 years? First, the 70 weeks is not 490 literal days, but 490 literal years. This also holds for the 2300 evenings and mornings. It is not 2300 literal days, but 2300 literal years. Second, the 1335 days is bounded. The little horn rises after the fall or division of Rome. The Heruli, under Odoacer, brought an end to the Western Roman Empire when they deposed the last emperor, Emperor Romulus Augustus, in 476 AD. So the 1335 days is bounded on the lower end by the year 476 AD. But as we said, the blessed time, which is fixed in time by the 1335 days, marks the start of a time in which the eyes of the world are being turned toward heaven and what is going on there. The cleansing of the sanctuary, the investigative judgment. And the judgment begins in 1844 AD. So the 1335 days is bounded on the upper end by the year 1844 AD. But that is an interval of 1368 years. That is a 33-year difference. There are no coincidences with God and His Word. Recall the time aspects of Daniel. This pattern of abomination of desolation, set up, persecution, and final desolation. Recall that it is patterned after what happened with Jesus, the Jews in Rome. In order to persecute, i.e. crucify Christ, the Jewish nation united with Rome, but later Rome turned on them and destroyed Jerusalem. We should see the same pattern repeated in Daniel 11. Daniel 7 plus Daniel 12. Eyes of a man and a mouth speaking for God, the church. 10 horns, the divided Roman Empire, the state. One of the 10 horns. This horn, it joins itself to the eyes of a man and the mouth speaking for God. Church and state unite. And the mouth speaking for God becomes a mouth speaking against God. The setup of the abomination of desolation is initiated. The little horn power of Daniel 7 is created. Later, that horn turns on the eyes of the man and the mouth speaking against God. The state turns on the church. The desolation is initiated, and the church loses its state power backing. The 1260, 1290, and 1335 days in history. 476 AD. The Western Roman Empire ceases to exist. 1844 AD. The investigative judgment begins. 508 AD. The eyes of a man and the mouth speaking, and the horn, church and state, unite. The abomination of desolation set up. The little horn of Daniel 7 arises. 1798. The horn attacks the eyes of a man and the mouth speaking. The state attacks the church. The church-state union disintegrates. Desolation. The start of the time of the end, the appointed time. Recall that these horns are the same horn. 508 AD, Christmas Day, the baptism of Clovis I of the Franks. The Franks become the first of the Germanic tribes to convert to the Catholic faith. More details on Clovis will be included in later videos. 1798. The 20th of February, Pius VI is taken captive by the French Republic's General Berthier. He dies in exile on the 29th of August, 1799. Franks, France, the same horn. 538 AD. The last of the three of the first horns, that is, the 10 horns, is plucked up by the roots. Daniel 7:8. 538 AD. The Ostrogoths are forced out of Rome. The last of 3 Arian anti-Catholic Germanic peoples uprooted to make way for the papacy. The other 2 uprooted peoples are the Heruli in 493 AD and the Vandals in 534 AD. 538 to 1798 AD. The 1260 prophetic days, 1260 literal years of persecution by the little horn power of Daniel 7, the papacy. And he, the little horn, shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and they shall be given into his hand until a times, and the dividing of time. Daniel 7:25. And finally, AD 1843, the start of the blessed time. Turning back to the 1260 years, let's briefly examine it by taking a short summary excursion through the annals of time. Greater details of this period will be found in later videos in the form of book quotes. First, the Inquisitional history of the Church. The Medieval Inquisition, AD 1184 to the mid-15th century. The Spanish Inquisition, 1480 to 1834. The Portuguese Inquisition, 1536 to 1821. The Roman Inquisition, 1542 to present. The Goa Inquisition, 1560 to 1812. The Peruvian Inquisition, 1570 to 1820. And the Mexican Inquisition, 1571 to 1820. Now for a few of the more well-known major outbreaks of persecution during this period. Once again, see later videos for greater detail. The Albigensian Crusade, AD 1209 to 1229, in which over 2 million people were slain. 1420, 1421, 1422, 1427, and 1431. The Hussite Wars, fought between the Bohemian followers of John Huss and the Catholic rulers. 1487. In response to a bull of Pope Innocent VIII for their extermination, a crusade is led against the Waldensians. Other massacres of the Waldensians were the massacre of Merindol, 1545, and the Piedmont Easter, 1655. 1572. The St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre, in which from 5,000 to 30,000 French Huguenots are killed. October 22nd, 1685 to November 7th, 1787. The Edict of Fontainebleau, also known as the Revocation of the Edict of Nantes, which had granted the Huguenots the right to practice their religion without persecution from the state. 2. The Edict of Versailles, known as the Edict of Tolerance. During this period, France suffered brain drain as many Huguenot skilled craftsmen left France. The 2 final events are not persecutions, but are key occurrences in the 1260 prophetic day period. 1517. Martin Luther writes his 95 Theses, beginning the Protestant Reformation in Europe. 1548 to 1563. The Council of Trent, one of the Roman Catholic Church's most important ecumenical councils, embodiment of the Counter-Reformation.